Okay, welcome all to the January 19th meeting of the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners. As always, we'll open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the minutes from January 5th from our last regular meeting.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes January 5th. Second.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, budget review, the reason we're here. Okay, so what do we have? That's for this. Okay, we have a green copy, which is an older version. And the two white pages with color bars on it are for water and for sewer. Yes.
And you also, do you have the white one like this?
And then we have a white one, yes.
Okay.
That is, what
So
is,
the green is the oldest, then the white, then the two colored.
the two colored are the newest?
Yep.
Okay, so these are just versions of
And it shows.
development?
It's the entire, it shows all the expenses and everything.
Yeah, time frame, right?
Oh, okay.
So is this the current year?
The,
Looking at the percentages, it looks like we're only halfway through.
I would say.
1.485 is the current year. So I'm guessing this is FY '21, this will be FY '22.
right.
Okay, so, oh, this is the actuals, okay, that's what these
Yeah, these two. So do we know if we got the debt squared away as to what the upcoming year debt is gonna be? Because I know Brian originally thought it was
Yes.
9 something,
Yeah,
and
we
now
way
it's,
better with that. That's
now it's
going to
4
be-
something?
Yes.
It's going to be moved over to 2024.
Okay,
Yes.
So that gives us a little bit of breathing room.
that takes 500,000 off of
Yes.
the budget.
Yes, there's a FY '23 debt service page that's
Yeah, I
in
see
here as
that,
well.
yeah. And you see that, some of that's being pushed up a year, Judge?
Yeah,
Payment-wise?
we thought we were going to be in closer in, like, after this year, so.
Yeah, that's the big unknown.
Yeah.
That's the big fear.
Like, so that was, the two things that are getting pushed off, the payments aren't due until next year, so it's the Mason Road, number 1 and number 7,
Yeah.
Right.
and the engineering for the treatment plant piping, so we thought those were gonna hit this year, but they're actually gonna hit next year.
24.
Okay.
We're just looking, estimated debt service for fiscal year '24 will be 1.3 million,
Yes.
and our budget's typically $1 million, just to operate.
It's they're
1.2.
proposing 1.6,
So-
almost 1.7 for this year.
Well,
So
the current
where's
year
that?
is 1.485.
Where's that gonna come from?
Yeah.
Let us
That's,
sweating.
That's what we're getting at,
Well, that's why we're having a meeting, an ongoing meeting with others to explore options. So I guess the best way to go through the budgets, we go pick them up one at a time. I think the easier one to go through will probably be sewer, correct? Why don't we go through sewer first and take a look at what's being proposed. I did note superintendent, where rather we had them split 60-30, we're going to 50-50. Okay. $60-40. Okay, so all of the,
Yeah, in all these budgets, water and sewer both, there's no thrills in this budget at all, nothing. Okay, I told you guys, told the board last year that I was gonna get what I had to now and do what I had to, so, we've been kinda going through this, and there are some unknowns as far as town treasurer that, we're still waiting on some responses on.
okay.
And I know your favorite thing too. But there is certain things allotted for just some electrical, just light stuff at capital, nothing dramatic at all. Sewer's in pretty good shape right now. We've had the I&I, that's just finished up now. And really, there has been no big surprises there. So we're kind of keeping everything to bare minimum right now.
And as you said before, the white page is the newest of
The one with the-
of the current budget? Okay. Overtime, so you're a little over on the overtime
That's, yeah.
for sewer this year?
Yeah, we had an unexpected issues over at that Lions Road that kept going over there, but now
Okay.
that's not gonna come to power anymore.
Okay, well, I mean, you still have, you're at 62% of usage,
Yeah.
but,
Where are you over? Well, haven't actually gone over yet.
no, I mean, you're over 50%.
Yeah.
Which is, we should be somewhere in the 50% vicinity
Do we know what
on
these
the
numbers-
actuals.
What these numbers are up to? What date?
I believe he worked on it today, so it's gonna be, he pulled everything within the last week.
So a little over 50%.
So it's, yeah, it's 62.5% of budgeted. It's a little bit more than half of, but that can be,
Well, if the problem's corrected,
yeah.
then we can hopefully cut back there.
I'm just looking at, I guess if we go down the lines, go ahead.
I know we were talking about superintendent's salary. Does this reflect a,
We put in for that for,
is that enough?
yep. We put a 5% or 3,000 in the fund just in case if it gets approved.
Oh,
Okay.
did you,
Yeah, there's a line down below, the brown and the proposed 2023.
Yeah.
That's for, to cover potential increases in the non-union personnel.
so you've got 6 altogether? And that's, we got 2 positions that we gotta factor that in for? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
3 and 3.
Yep. So, I mean, salaries are all pretty much
Yeah.
by,
Union
by
and
contract.
the contract.
What's the revenue?
I'm sorry?
That's what?
What's the revenue? I'm looking at the budget, but I don't know what my revenue is.
Oh, yeah, obviously our quarterly.
There's another page, looks like this, all the way over. That's your, that's what's been billed. And what's projected for being billed,
Right, okay.
collected rather. That's not what billed, that's what's
Okay.
collected.
All right, okay.
It's actually collected, okay.
Great.
So, Mr. Chairman, ask a question, between 22 and 23, Right now, it looks like approximately $150,000 increase, give or take a few, to go into fiscal '23.
On the sewer,
Yeah, and George says he's got it as tight as he can get it, basically, for the known expenses. So we have to question so-called accounts receivable and the new building rates. Would that help us by next year?
Yeah, that's what we were expecting, that it's gonna keep us in the good. There's a few unknowns there, like indirect, things like that, that we've been waiting
You got hit
to.
with that.
Yeah,
It's 250, not 150.
I go, 1,100, oh yeah, 349. Yeah, I has to get 249.
Yeah, it's an 18% increase.
Yeah, 18%, yeah, so it's 250.
But the large, yeah, I mean,
253,000.
you go down the line, the biggest increases are, what's longevity?
that's, somebody's been there for a while.
Oh,
And that
okay,
the-
those.
Yeah, they're incorporating that now.
It's a
that-
salary benefit.
Unfortunately, there's nobody in our, well, fortunately for them, but right now, no in our department. I'm the only one, and Mike are the only two
Mike,
that,
right.
for longevity.
Timmy into it yet?
Not yet,
Or not?
he's not there yet.
So why did it go up so much? On
We
sewer?
already had a longevity pay for Mike.
The
They had a
debt-
35-year.
The debt is over 50,000.
Oh, yeah, the
It's
debt
actually over 60.
increases, yeah. But I'm just asking, so why did the longevity go from 300 to 5,000? On sewer?
Mike was paid a one-time longevity at 35 years. I can't remember what the number was on that.
But that's in 22, that's not in 23.
No, that's coming up for 23.
Oh, that's coming up, okay, so he's,
Yeah.
all right, so that's gonna hit, all right.
Yeah.
All right,
That's not yet.
It just, you know, what I'm looking at is where are the big increases?
Yeah.
Operating expense up 30%, but that's basically the catch-all for everything that doesn't fit in another.
Your two big ticket items are you've got 50,000 in engineering that we didn't have. You got 50,000 in capital that we didn't have. You got just about 50,000, well, a little over 50,000, 60,000. That's over 60,000
Yeah.
for the sewer debt.
Yep. Yeah, those are your big tickets.
So there's 160,000 out of the.
And those are not,
253.
engineering, do we foresee having a big engineering expense in sewer this year?
As we go further down, we also got that project that's gonna be from the DEP that's gonna be bothering us on that West Main Street issue. Because now we have to go ahead and explore that whole situation. It's not remember we held that off for a while we did the I&I. I asked to see if we could hold it off with DEP, but DEP wants an exploratory
Oh,
of
okay, the
that
siphon.
pipeline
The flooding.
going
The
down.
siphon, yep.
With all the irregular sizes, thinking that's the cause that we believe it is, and it's a good portion. But I haven't had a chance to get the I&I going, and now that all the infiltration we found up on Alton Drive and all that area up there, it's gonna really help things, so
And
I asked for some time.
Whatever that infiltration is at 10-Yard Road.
Yeah, we've got we looked into part of it, but then the weather got bad, and we're still
Okay.
continuing on that too, so we just need some time.
I think more of the issue is the fact that we've got some infiltration somewhere that's just, we just have to find it.
We're hot and heavy looking.
So, any questions? Yeah, it looks like tried to hold the line on,
And then another big increase was the salaries because they changed the percentage
Yeah.
on the two non-union.
right,
So
yeah, those, 5%, 4%, that's really not.
Well, it's a 40% increase over last year's on the allocation.
Oh, yeah,
That's
because,
what I'm saying.
because we cut it to 50/50 again.
This
Yeah, we should take the other side down.
is based on the fees
It
we
does.
have now?
I believe it's on the fees that were proposed from the last study that
Yep.
that we've been increasing it over. So on the study, I think it was set to go up, I don't know offhand. and that's what was used, but obviously, we're gonna be given new information in 2 weeks, so.
So this was based off of the third increase?
Yeah.
On the rate study?
Mr. Chairman, being that these are unusual times with all the engineering and the work going on, could you dip into your retained earnings for a portion to help balance this?
You could, but I don't think our retained earnings are all that healthy at the moment.
We're at around, we're still at the 700 in the water department.
Oh, you're not,
Three something in the.
By the projected revenues,
I,
We
we're
don't
not,
need to, yeah.
we don't need to,
no, I
we're,
don't like using retained earnings
200,000.
because I'm in the middle of a big kibosh of stuff now, and if something else comes upon that we're not expecting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no,
And I try to keep them right where, anything major that breaks or goes, we're talking thousands of dollars versus hundreds of dollars. So I'm trying to keep them manageable, but not.
Right.
projected income covers that easily.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, but
The sewer's projected income 1.5, and we're on 1.349
So that's good, that'll help to keep things,
in our favor.
maybe we can,
that's if we raise it. Sewer has been behind the eight ball for a while there, so that's why we're trying to
maybe,
catch them
maybe
up.
we
a little
can
bit.
balance off some of the increases.
Yeah.
Now, has the INI, does that hit this year, the INI debt, or does that come next year?
I think it's next year.
INI round one, INI round two, yeah, so the revolving
Yep.
SRF loan doesn't hit yet. So that's going to hit, and that's where, those retained levels will,
That's where you're gonna need.
that's where it's gonna go away.
So I
This is
think,
based
so
on the
we're in a good-
projected third
Right,
increase.
so
Do we
the
know
third-
that number?
which I think is gonna
if-
change.
If we didn't change?
No,
Well, no, but,
we just did the projected.
well, the number, if we didn't change, it should be the same as this
Right.
year's. But
Right.
based on the conversation earlier today, there was a meeting earlier, and they were revising it, saying that they're looking at probably 10% for the next 5 years instead of what we were projecting. So the projections were more in the range of 13 to 15%. I
Right.
think.
Yes.
So at 10%,
Where did you hear this?
that puts us almost directly on the target.
Yeah, I didn't follow that meeting.
Yeah, that was-
This is a virtual.
So that puts us almost even for our projected in the proposed budget. So it's almost a balanced budget based on that.
Yeah, without increase,
No, that's with the 10%
With
increase.
the temp.
yeah.
So we're about 10% over on this proposed based on the current fiscal year's projected
Right.
finish. So we're just about 10%, and that's about what they're recommending for an increase, so.
When that go into effect, Bob?
That's the rate is gonna be,
Normally, it's July 1st that we change
For the
the
new
rate.
fiscal year?
Yeah.
right, so we're supposed to have the next normal commissioners meeting,
Right, February,
second.
yep, second, yep.
They're presenting the revised budget.
Rate,
Our
And plus with our group there.
Yeah, they're gonna be, it's gonna be a joint meeting with that group of,
Yeah, the finance end of it there?
yeah.
Well, what do we say?
Yeah.
No, you said, you're part of this board.
And I am
Um,
gonna try to have it in the big room.
Right, that would be, yeah, COVID and everything else, it's best to be able to spread out.
Bow ties it.
So, yeah, I mean, unless anybody sees anything, it looks to be, sewer budget at least seems to look like a good,
Doable? Is that a
a
good?
good.
I have some capital improvement items for the next 2 years or so, starting off with, the Jetta has to be replaced sooner or later. But that's further on in the truck. We're gonna keep the truck, we're gonna do some body work on that.
But as far
Before
as
it
the
gets any
budget,
worse.
as far as the budget is concerned,
Yeah,
we're,
just keep us going strong.
How about spare pumps for any of the pump stations? Where do you stand there?
Good now. We've got some
So
already
we have
from.
spares?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I know that was an issue before, and we're rushing and
yeah.
emergencies trying to fix things instead of.
Yeah, we've got some,
Maybe the only things that could put a cog here in the wheel is the information we get from Richard.
right.
If his numbers are any higher,
I mean,
You know.
you projected in Seemed like pretty fair
6,
increases.
4%, 4%.
Group and, for health insurance.
Yeah.
So I do have a question on the,
We do need to see the
you got
indirect
the,
track.
you got the collected cycles. Are these actual collected numbers or are these billed numbers?
I'm betting they're billed, because I don't have the collected numbers.
That's,
There's 200,000 missing.
that's kind of my point. This may,
Yeah.
these,
Yeah.
Right,
these
right.
revenue numbers might be shy by 175,000, which makes
And
it
if
so
we
that
get
we're
few
not
people
accurate.
I am.
Okay.
All I can tell you is we looked
So-
at new software, and the new software is amazing, because as soon as you type in the account, it shows you all their payments, what they owe, if they're lien, blah, blah, blah.
What's the new software?
Vadar? Is that, are you
Well, they
familiar?
all suck, but.
Well, yeah, but I just was looking
I
at it
remember we're
as,
recorded, so.
I just was looking at it
It's
as,
all right, I'll say it to their company's faces.
Yeah.
I can see more with my entry. I'm not restricted,
Yeah.
so.
I think
So-
Vadar's probably a step up for your thing, but Vadar and Munis are similar, and they're both terrible, but I haven't found one that's good yet.
So in, I don't know if anybody, while you're going, talking about whether or not this is billed or collected, we did get that opinion from council. Everybody, if you haven't reviewed it yet, review it, so we can discuss it, at our February meeting. We can put it on the agenda and actually discuss it. Maybe we can get him there.
You sent us the opinion?
I sent it and I printed it out last meeting for you.
Okay.
No, like I
But I'll
said,
send it
like
again.
Bob said,
Well, we didn't have
this is
the,
what was billed, what's been collected.
the,
It could be off as much as 200,000 in each
What you
account.
printed was the first decision. The second
Then I
decision,
emailed the second one.
the second one was sent out by email. It just came out,
It came out right after the last.
right
meeting.
after the last meeting,
Versus
like the end of last
151.
week.
Says we're entitled.
On the sewer.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's public record. The bottom line is that it's all public record, so,
But we're an enterprise fund and we're entitled to know that information.
right.
And I mean, I understand what his argument was, but and I hate to point it out on camera, but, the fact of the matter is, if people are very savvy and understand how the financing works, if I was paying a water sewer bill, I would almost say, Pat, if I know they're not gonna shut me off, I'm just not gonna pay it, because then it'll go to your tax bill. And my tax bills I can claim on my income tax as a deduction, whereas you can't claim them on a water sewer bill.
Even leaned amounts?
You pay the lien no
I
matter
suppose,
what.
yeah.
Once it goes to lien, it's a tax. It's a tax bill.
You pay it off.
Right.
When it goes to a lien, your mortgage company usually pays it off and adds it to your mortgage, so you get to claim it as your tax revenue on your real estate taxes.
Very dangerous though.
So if everybody knew that and wanted to play
Yeah,
that
yeah.
game, we could all of a sudden be in a year where we have no revenue. And if we're not in the practice of taking the efforts we can to collect that money, then it could really put us in a bad situation.
Regardless of all the situations, all the possibilities, we're entitled to the information. So we can discuss it when it's actually on the agenda,
With
and
the new
then,
tax laws, don't you need like over $20,000 in expenses or something to claim that?
Yeah, before you get to a point that you gotta itemize.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 15,000.
it's like 15, yeah.
So the average person's not gaining if he's paying 4,000 or 5,000 in taxes,
No, but you never know
the situation.
the situations or
That's-
what tax laws will change.
That's dangerous math if you can't pay for it now.
Exactly.
What makes you think you're gonna pay for it?
Right.
Mr. Chairman, since you brought it up, are we getting the information now?
We're not yet. That's why, like I said, we need to discuss it as a board.
Okay.
But it's not on this agenda, so
Yep.
we just don't want to get into the habit of discussing things off agenda.
No, it just has to do with the
So I guess it's safe
current,
to
because we
say,
need to know what money's coming
Yes.
in.
if we collect for 23, the projected billing, we're safe,
Right,
providing that income comes in
right.
in a timely manner.
Okay, so any other questions on the sewer budget?
No, I guess-
No? Okay, well, let's move over to the water budget then. A lot more color on it. A lot of ask riches. Yeah, well,
Do we need to approve any of these? You guys are just all
No, you're
set?
just discussing for your,
it's so that we can, actually, you're gonna, I mean, this is what you're gonna send forth, this is what's being sent.
we have usually I have a table talk with Debbie and John to go through it and everything, and that's, so they know where we are and all that.
Okay. So if there's anything that we think is out of line, then
Yeah,
this is the time to.
that's just informational. Okay, this is sort of colorful. What
Okay,
is that?
so,
So again, same thing as the sewer. Some issues though we might change up is, Brian and I were talking about putting a safety expense line item on there, or safety equipment. That's something we've been kind of shied from, and that's not right. We have to start, and of course, the first thing would be like the trench box. But there's going to be a whole new realm of safety protocols coming into play as we go along in the year too. We've been lucky, labor and standards hasn't bothered us much, but it is
do you
coming.
have that,
It
you
is
have that
coming.
in here?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
I think I said that
Bless
last
you.
year, that we need to have the safety thing. 'cause you
It
guys
should be.
need to
Yeah,
have the safety
Absolutely.
equipment. That's nothing we want to mess around with.
No.
Hey, George, you have 16, almost 17% on your operating expense.
Yep.
What's that, what are you anticipating there?
That's the problem. We don't know where,
Inflation.
everything. We
Inflation
just
and the
don't
cost
know
of
where,
everything.
this unfortunately, with all this new, even like, this might answer Bob's question, even the GAC unit, the temporary treatment, it looks like with changing out the media and all
Yeah.
that, I've been hearing a figure of around $50,000, 45, 50,
Yeah.
somewhere in that range there. There's just a lot of unknowns, electrical, the heating wrap,
Hey,
the
your fuel bill.
fuel bill,
Fuel,
everything's
gas,
going up in
diesel
fuel.
for the trucks.
The what do you call it's been very good to us. LeBlanc's been great to us. Now their prices are reasonable,
Keep
their
them in
service
line.
is good, and their fuel oil is not tainted. So we've been good with that. The trucks are new, and all running great now, so we don't have to worry about that kind of thing. Main brakes have been. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to jinx us.
Yeah. Oh, you get an extra $10,000 on your meters and everything,
Yeah.
but that's also an income source.
Yeah.
When the meters work.
I'm not fooling with the meters. Meters are
Yeah.
constant, continually
When those are working correctly,
pressing
that's.
forward.
Keep
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
keep that,
Keep that account.
Yeah, indirect,
Yeah, what is it?
that's the famous one there.
well,
Chemicals are always continuously going up.
Yeah.
We're finding that out. I forgot what it was last time, a 4%?
This month was up, that last bill was
Well,
up 13 something.
143, 143, 146,
Yeah,
and you're going up, I mean.
yeah, we're
Same
not,
again.
yeah. we
You went up
have to-
3, you're going up 4 this time,
Yeah.
4,000, that's not out, that's not,
Education went up just a little bit because now Luke's moving, trying to, he's got to move forward. James is going in for his stuff, and then as another person comes on, we're going to be increasing
actually,
that.
you went down,
No, on the,
education licenses, You
No,
want
it's
to-
licenses, but he's talking about the classes, right?
yeah,
where is that?
Is that in that same line
Education
item?
licenses.
It's split between the two.
yeah.
Well, once again, a lot of these numbers depend on Rich too, if he throws something at you.
Yeah.
You're thinking only, 50,000 will be enough for sampling?
Right now, we're looking at that as a steady figure, but that's gonna change because, and I'm telling, is that we're talking, because we don't know yet when that new treatment comes into play, we'll be sampling that. And then Station 1's gonna be coming on, we're gonna be sampling that. So there's some issues there. And then-
50's gonna be enough?
I think so. I mean, we've got a
Okay, yeah,
little cushion
you
there,
really don't know.
you know.
There's a-
You got engineering at 50, what are they?
Again, we're just going by what we think we know on that. I mean, we don't know if that's gonna increase at all for engineering. I don't think it is. I think engineering's covered for most of what we've done and what we have going forward, but, there's always, and I've got retained earnings that usually back up if there's a problem. And I hope there's none, but like I said, I don't know, some of these things come out of the blue all of a sudden, and, you know, with the engineering firms and that kind of throws us for a loop, and we're trying to get all the information we have forward so that we know what we're gonna be up against coming up in the next year and stuff, so. It doesn't look like we're gonna have an issue, but, we're watching it, we're asking questions.
So that debt service, is that accurate now? Or is that is the accurate number?
That should be right out the accurate number.
Okay, all right.
That's the biggie. Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of Ask Riches there too that we have to,
It's only a 12%, I mean, it's a 12% increase over last year. But with all the PFAS stuff, that's,
you know,
to me, doesn't seem to be out of line. Why, well, longevity went down, okay. So no payouts this year?
We're not
no,
missing
I already
anything.
had mine, so,
George?
yeah.
We're not missing any line item, out of curiosity, that you, year after year, we're not missing, hopefully we're not missing anything?
No, it's just, like I said, we may incorporate a new line item
Safety.
for safety and that, which we gotta look at. And everything else, like I said, we think we've got it, but there's some
That's a
unknowns still.
good amount to be in a line item like that.
For safety?
Yeah.
I'd probably put 10,000.
Oh, at least that. We were looking at 15.
I would say 10 to start.
I'd probably
but-
put a scratch note there for safety for 15 grand, because we were looking at that. There's gonna be a lot of equipment purchase for safety. I don't have a whole lot, you know, even my hard hats are antiquated.
They have-
So
they
again,
have a shelf life.
I'll push the Mia thing,
Yeah.
the Maya.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, your department's the most susceptible to OSHA injury violations and everything else, so you're most likely to get the grant as long as you're right.
How old are your gas meters?
They're a couple years old on the sewer side. Still working, but a couple of years old. But that
Oh, that's on
that
sewer,
brings them
yeah.
out of, basically, they're getting out of compliance. So that we have to sit down on that and start mapping that out. But
Should probably be a.
that's
safety-
about what they use. Everything else that they do major, we're involved with our stuff too. So,
But I mean, the safety, there should be, where they work underground.
yeah, they're all getting their confined space compliances. I have, I've
There
got
should be
mine
a
all.
safety line item on the suicide too.
That's what that's where I was.
Uh, They don't get into the kind of digging that we do and the kind of major stuff that we do, like
Yeah,
trench
well,
work.
They go,
You're
they
thinking-
go below.
You're
They go
thinking
into
trench
confined
boxes,
space.
but they need the confined space.
We have all that already. They've already got all theirs.
You have the tripods and
The tripod we do have.
the air ventilator.
Yeah, we've got all that, but some of it's older stuff, but it's not something that warrants maybe a safety item. Ours is gonna be rebuilding it from scratch, and like I said, it's not the same way as it was years ago. We do it all together now. So whatever they do, we do. So I try to keep all the safety items on the water side where it's all stored, maintained, all that stuff. I try to keep everything together now for major jobs. I know they just do that. If we're going down in caps, if they're gonna go down on a tripod, we're gonna be there too, to assist, so that's what I say.
You
I'm
were
trying
talking
to,
about the gas meters, right?
what's that?
The,
But-
They should be metering anytime they go into a hole,
Yeah.
every time.
Those are
Right, but-
getting old.
Those again, Mike and I have to sit down and start discussing it for this
Those should
fiscal
be
year,
probably
replacing those.
purchased by the sewer
Yeah.
more than,
Well, so you should probably
I should-
budget
yeah.
in both
yeah.
Should put
water
10 in
and
the-
sewer, there should
10
be.
in the water
I mean, you
and
could
5
easily
in the
do it, it's
sewer,
not a
right?
big deal. I could put 10 grand in the sewer for safety and 15 in the water for safety.
Yeah,
We've got a little bit more going for us on our side.
but I think it,
But each employee has safety issues and safety equipment that's needed, so.
Yes.
And both departments work both sides, so if you need hard hats, you need them on water and sewer.
We've got some on the sewer, the sewer, I got some hard hats a while back for them, and for us. But then again, like I said, people aren't taking it seriously, so they're throwing them over here, or they're on the shelf. What happens to them, this is the problem, so.
if
we're
they
trying to
don't, if
rebuild
they're
it
not
all.
using them and they get hurt, then that's on them.
Actually, it's on George for not
Actually,
making
me.
them all right.
Actually, it's on.
I have to make them, I'm the compliance officer.
Okay, but yeah, we get back on the budget.
Just some quick math off, rounding numbers off. We maybe have $100,000 to $120,000 cushion on the sewer, depending on what's billed versus what's collecting. and maybe $175,000, give or take, on the water versus what's billed versus what's collected for the unknowns. You know, round some numbers up. Say 1.7 on the sewer, go to
Yeah,
Yeah, but
1.4 on the water.
Yep.
You know, versus what the projected billing was, so you don't have too much play.
you don't have much play because this is projected if everybody pays their
That's the
bill.
thing,
Right.
yeah,
And we have a redundant problem there,
Yeah.
where it's not being
yeah.
That's gonna make that issue about collecting a more important thing
Top
coming in now,
priority.
top priority.
Get our money.
And like I said, if we have the rights to shut down, after proper notifications are made, done it legally the right way through our procedure, then once they see that happening, it opens up.
'Cause I know
It's,
the last-
remember we did
the
that,
last
and
time we did it, we brought in a lot of money, like about $150,000.
they think it's a joke, like Bob said, they know the system, they know the way we're doing things now, and now we got a set of teeth that, hey,
When they meet Brian with the wrench.
well, even when they spray the road to mark it out where the shut off is and all that stuff.
Well,
Jen,
I just think that we
created
need to
this.
resolve the problem of
okay,
that,
what, the line
because
FY
it's
projection
unfair
for
of
FY
us to
twenty-two,
talk
what is
to
that?
your constituents about an increase when we're not collecting from the people who are using it now.
In fiscal year '21,
It-
that was
you
the
know, that's-
projection for FY '22.
That's how timeshares work.
I agree with you.
That's right, Bill, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah, we're over
You
on,
pay for the people who don't.
Yeah.
yeah, we're over on both of them, when we got actual, but things have come up. I think,
So, yeah, I would definitely pencil in a 10 and a 15
okay.
on sewer and water for safety, safety there. Overtime is good, and I don't expect that's gonna go, well, I'm not gonna jinx myself again, but, yeah. I expect it to be okay, especially on the sewer side.
Okay,
I expect
The
that.
water
Well,
side,
you-
a
you
lot of
keep-
that,
you cut back, well, actually, that's from 2 years ago.
On the water side is the only thing that, when we have everybody together on a break or something like that,
but a
but
lot of the breaks were Mason Road, right?
they were Mason Road, and that should be
Fix it.
covered now. Some of the other old plastic pipe is coming into play of the stuff, the garbage that was put in back in the time when they made it, and when they casted it, and there's a lot of air in it, and it's breakable. JBF is the perfect example of that now. Now that's plaguing us, some of those stupid services, because of the temperature changes that have been going on, and a lot of that stuff now has been either frosted down or is thawing, and the ground is moving, and some of that plastic pipe is getting damaged and now blowing apart.
That's a black pipe?
That black pipe that I actually called it Uncle Ted plastic because my uncle had the same problem with it, and it became something we were getting plagued with. JBF is notorious for that with the transite up there, and there's other streets in that area up there too that are having that same, are gonna have issues like that when they use that type of plastic. It's actually, they use the 160
It's well
PSI.
pipe, yeah. We always call it farmer pipe. but-
Yeah, yeah, and we don't allow that anymore. I don't allow any of that stuff anymore. It's the 200 PSI polypro stuff that, and now, back then, they allowed that. Why they did, because you're talking back in the 80s, and, that's not
You
too,
need to
Okay.
keep track of what it's costing us for the year for the overtime based on the pipe, the bad pipe, and whether it's worth to upgrade the pipe for the project.
well, if you're gonna upgrade the pipe, you might as well upgrade the main. You might as well put a
That's
whole
the
new water
service.
main in there.
This is the service lines.
Right, that's what I mean.
The-
I've got it in a capital program to do some of those streets in the next coming years. Right now, it's just too much for us.
Yeah, oh, I agree.
But I do have that down for the next couple of years. I have certain streets that I've listed for what, new mains and piping and that, and I think JD was one of them. Some of the laterals coming off of Mason Road, some of the priority there, because a lot of that is junk also in Sunnyside, and if I recall, it was Sunnyside. And I'm actually working on it this week, is to enhance that, bring myself now from 22 moving on forward with the projects and the new stuff like the sewer, water, and and projects.
Okay, now, I notice, on the current budget, we've got a rave line item. It's only $1,400, but, it's not on the new budget. Is that rolled into something else?
It's reverse 911 code red.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
He
all right.
just labeled it
It's just a different name,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, I see it now.
Yeah.
So does he
Okay, water
really,
gets that, not sewer. Okay, yeah, sewer wouldn't really,
does he really expect a decrease in health insurance? That doesn't sound logical to me.
Oh, wait, hold on.
I haven't seen insurance rates go down.
52, group health insurance, 6.5% increase. Health.
Well, here you've got a 7.17% decrease.
Decrease.
yeah, you were going from 64.3 to
64
60.
60.
Oh,
Hold on one
we
second.
got the same sheets here?
Yeah, just, there it is.
No, it's the sewer page.
Yeah, what he did is because it's
Oh, I'm
being
sorry, I'm looking
split
at- I got it, yeah.
50/50.
Oh, so it's
So
gonna
now
be on
he-
the sewer, is gonna
Sewer
go up?
side has,
Okay.
Yeah. So
Why is it
it's-
split 50, that shouldn't split 50.
It changed the percentage. If their employee, if their salaries are going 50/50, all their benefits will go 50/50 as well.
Oh, for that, those two,
Right,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right.
this is my pages.
I know.
Okay. Any other any questions on water? Any other questions on water? You know, it looks good, I mean, you did it looks like you've done as good a job as you can.
We anticipated this last year. I told everybody we're gonna bite the bullet, get what we need, you know, aside from the safety stuff, we know that, but any
Yeah.
big ticket items, get the vehicles refurbed or new. I says, the next couple of years, aside from sewer, which will be the next group of stuff, some bigger ticket items, that's next year or two, 2 years to start off.
Okay.
So do you think you have everything budgeted in the right line items? I know often things are miscategorized and put in the wrong spots.
Yeah, we hope they were. That's all I can say, we hope they are. Some of this new stuff to us is, you know, with this PFAS and stuff is, you know, it's gonna be learning in process. I mean, we've done a pretty good job, anticipating and, you know, getting what we could get and that, so we're hoping for the best.
In the past, we've had the selectmen on the town administrator memo come out and say they want a 10% decrease in your budget. We haven't faced anything
No.
like that, right?
This is, as everybody knows, this has been the problem with this department for the last 10 years, is 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%. And in the meantime, wells were going down, and
Yeah.
it just
Cost
doesn't
goes up.
work. One of the selectmen saying, it says, you guys did the perfect example that it was kicking the can down the road. And this is what happened, you kick the can down the road. You get into trouble.
I remember that one year where another department, they said, yeah, cut 30%. I cut 30%.
Yeah.
Rather than say, we can't.
We
Yes,
fall
at
under a
some point you
special
have to
thing
say
now
that.
because of the situation we're in with the PFAS. That's a must, that's public.
Yeah. Everything you're doing is a must now.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, okay, all right, and then, debt service, okay, that's from Rich? The debt service page?
It was gone over with Rich, yes.
So it is, okay. And, okay, and then the last one was the projected revenues. Okay, also in the packet was, kind of relates, we got a packet from Town of Webster, just review it for our next meeting. We'll have to reach out to Mr. Brinkman and see
True up.
the true up with Webster for sewer. So, that will need to be addressed. But, we can discuss that, that was in the packet for information. The second, the next line item then is, performance review evaluation of superintendent and administrative assistant. Okay, in the packet is a copy of the classification plan as was drawn up by, whatever the name of that company, DIJ Management Consultant Services. And you were all sent copies of the administrative assistant job description and what the superintendent has completed for the administrative assistant's performance appraisal. To repeat what was said the last meeting, when, in reviewing this, when looking at pages 2 and 3, and looking at all those bullets, I asked where those came from. Actually, through pages 2 through 5, where those bullets all came from, and they came from a job description that I don't believe we ever saw. In fact, the copy of it I have says draft job description. It's been adopted by someone, but I don't believe that we've seen it.
Yeah, that was the problem, well, it didn't apply to what.
It looks like a cookie cutter, cut and paste. I think in looking at it briefly, and looking at it the few times I've looked at it, I believe the superintendent is mentioned in there maybe twice, and the commissioners are mentioned once. Other than that, there's no mention of water department or sewer department functions. I'd really like to chew this thing up and make it more germane to what our department does. As I can't remember exactly where it was. It mentions transporting of prisoners. Oh, that was occupational risk. For example, danger of physical attack when escorting or monitoring female prisoners. Don't know that that would ever be an agreed upon task of the water and sewer department administrative assistant. I don't know, what do others think?
If you want to go into it, the visual auditory skill, and so the employee is really required to have ability to decline, to determine color differences. So we just had charts with colors. This is nonsense.
I'll pass that.
I mean, it says little or no physical demands are required to perform work assignments in an office environment. And that's, that's just dumb in this day and age to make a statement like that when you have to meet and greet the public.
And go from place to place to place to
Yeah.
place to place.
Yeah, it's just- And but I would take exception with the judgment, because I think she does make judgments based upon rules and regulations.
Absolutely.
But they've got it in here to say that there is no judgment, independent judgment. But the reality of it, there is.
Mr. Chairman, you looking for us to change that or make a new one?
That was the question that was brought up last 2 weeks ago. Has everybody had a chance to review this?
Yeah. Like I said, if you could cut and paste from somewhere.
Okay,
Are we allowed to rewrite our job description?
So I sent and did not get a response.
Because I know this was part of their whole package where they went out with the whole town. I think George is the only one that wasn't under that, and we wrote his job description, but we disagree with this description, so what's the path?
by the, as I understood the ruling of town council, yeah, we do have a right to determine what the job description is. In conjunction,
For the
to me,
superintendent, but I don't think he said that about the administrative assistant.
Yeah,
I
I wasn't.
thought it was
I'd have to go back and read that. I think he did say that one as well, or she.
she.
I think she may have included that position, but I'm not positive. On her opinion.
I meant to bring it in. Yep. Yeah, we meant to look for the email, only because, yeah, I thought it was for non-union personnel. It said specifically in there, union personnel are dictated by the collective bargaining. Oh. Another tick up on the performance appraisal.
See, you're making points already.
Yeah.
I try to be prepared.
Water Sewer Commission has the authority to hire the superintendent and non-union departmental employees and set their compensation within existing appropriations and subject to the pay range established by the town's classification and compensation plan. There's that. Benefits for the superintendent would be the same as afforded to other non-union department heads. Benefits for non-union departmental employees would be the same as afforded to other non-union employees. With respect to departmental employees who are unionized, however, the terms of the applicable collective bargaining agreement is entered into by the Board of Selectmen and governed by terms and conditions of employment, including compensation.
So that sentence, was that applying to, because it said afforded to other non-union? They say.
Department heads, benefits for non-union departmental employees would be the same as afforded to other non-union
Right. You
employees.
Right, but that's saying that,
That's benefits, yeah.
right, she's entitled to the same benefits as the other employees, so that would fall under their department, not ours.
That's benefits, but it says that we have the authority to hire the superintendent and non-union departmental employees. If we can hire them, then
You're assuming,
can we
So
not?
that's an assumption.
you're assuming.
Okay, I have to read through this again. I don't want to do this, you know, during a live meeting. But
So I would just get clarification on that to make sure we have the authority to rewrite the job description to make it correct.
The union did something kind of different this year, just because we're talking about benefits and, you know, unions, usually even the union people and non-union get certain same thing, job, clothing on, but I was kind of upset because they now offer incentives for licenses, $200 for Class A, you know, yeah. I don't get that, so my Class A doesn't count. It says, it was, you know, even if we drive their equipment or whatever like that, that's one of the only things now that the union gets where the non-union people don't, for having licenses. So I thought that was kind of different.
So did that apply across all union members?
But, so Luke he's got a Class A, he gets that 200. I would have got it if I was union, but I don't, my Class A, so they only get, only the union people get that for, certain.
But it's
They
gotta
got-
be required for the job.
That's what I
No.
was gonna say, I wanna,
Oh, they can
No,
do-
they don't quite, any job in any of these departments don't require really a Class A, but.
Okay, so
There's
the
some-
janitor goes and gets his Class A, does he get the $200?
He gets the $200 for having a Class A, yeah, just for having it.
So
Because
what-
there may be a chance, back in the day, when, like, driving a flatbed with a trailer and something on, you need a Class A, and nobody had it, and I was doing it. But now they can,
But
they have a couple that do have it, so they.
But the
wanted
idea
to-
of a janitor driving,
He falls under the union, he's allowed to have that.
that's what I'm saying, what is the language in there though? Is it license, or does it specify Class A license, or
Class A license, if you have a Class A license, you get a specific amount, I think it's $200 something for the year, extra, for having it.
Can I have my copy?
Same if you have, I'll get it.
Well, that's why I was asking, does it apply?
Yes, but
Thank you.
it's just, if
Licenses,
something was
wastewater
new and it
licenses.
didn't apply to the non-union people, but I thought it was kind of, because, for having it, it's a big deal to get one. It's a big expense. When I got mine back 20 years ago, it cost me like $6,000, and I was on the quick course. But now it costs people up to $10,000 to get something like that. So if you're gonna do, someday may require that I have to pick up a trailer or something for us, to our department, a trailer or backhoe somewhere, I can do that. But, that's why they did that, just so people would, if they needed it, they could have the guy do it. If he's gonna get paid for it, he will be asked, and he's asked to use it, then he'll do it. Back then, they could say, no, you don't pay me to have that license. It's a tricky thing, so they kind of covered it.
Well, I think it's still, if it's not in their job description, they can't force them to go drive a truck.
Well, it opens up a little bit more of an avenue of that if it's needed, it's there, because they are paying for it to have it, so, I don't know.
It's the old story, I have it, I got it on my own, but you're not paying me for it. I'm in a different job.
and I don't
description.
know who the janitor is, but he could be moonlighting as, have a second job as a truck driver.
Yeah.
And he's gotta get the license for that, and we're paying, the town's
Yeah.
gonna pay for it, and he's never gonna get benefits.
I know the person
Because
here had
as you
a,
said, his job description does not say he used to drive trucks.
yeah. Most of them, I think that when you're talking about here, does have a Class B license, because I know him. And I don't know if he automatically falls into, he drives a town truck if he has to plow with it, or whatever like that. I'm not sure how they work that out of it.
Well, my concern is more on if it says license and not like specific ones, I mean, the operators could all have, a 1T, a 2T, a 3T, a 4T, a 1D, a 2D, 3D, 4D, there's 8 licenses. You can get the wastewater licenses, there's 9. I mean, so
Yeah.
theoretically, they could get 20 different licenses at $200
I know there was
apiece.
discussion about that because of the fact that the people would have license, certain people had license, and if they needed something for a special situation, they could say, no, I didn't go get it, you're not paying me for it, why should I use it for it? That was the only issue, so they did do something about it with this new thing there. But, first time it's going non-union special, union doesn't get what union people get, so that was that kind of.
Well, we're not involved in the collective bargaining, so
No,
I guess we
no,
can't
it's
argue it
not.
anyway. But we would need to budget for it if it's
Yeah,
a possibility that each of the union employees could get that stipend.
yeah, that's,
Okay, so did everybody get a chance to look through through the performance appraisal as was done by the superintendent?
I think we actually went through that page by page at the last meeting.
Did we?
yeah.
Pretty sure we did. Didn't we? I think we went through line item by line item, but
We
we
did
didn't.
for George.
I thought we went through yours as well.
No,
I don't have that, no.
no, we never went through.
Wasn't it listed in there that she got her operator license?
Yeah, he mentioned that.
I think you might
That
have
was one of her
reviewed, you might have
goals.
reviewed it in the office, we didn't talk about this. at our
Pretty sure it
meeting.
was at the meeting, but.
Maybe, I can check my minutes about that.
Because I think the only discussion was the job description isn't correct, and it doesn't meet the evaluation, and we didn't set a rate yet. We're determining the rates for both of them, and we wanted to add it to this so we could get it in place for the budget,
Okay,
because it's part of the budget discussion.
all right.
Which we still have to do is determine what percentage on both
Okay.
pairs to add it to the budget correctly.
Okay. So according to the, you've been working, employed for 12 years? At the town?
8.
Well, it says 12 on the administrative
They're doing
assistant,
good.
water sewer. It says 12 years of service.
No, 8.
I don't think it was that long. But, all right, and you were brought up to
2404.
20, oh, you're at 2404, okay. So you're at the top of the,
No, at the bottom.
oh, okay, all right, I'm looking
I'm
at
at
So
the
this is
higher
their
end.
new compensation
Yes,
scale
okay.
that they
Yeah.
went and compared to all the other towns.
Right, so
And it
any,
started you at that point.
and anyone who comes in at those levels will start at the same rate that I'm at,
Right. And you've been
Okay,
here
so-
for
8 years.
Yep. So,
But they didn't take that into consideration.
so the market equity benchmarks, they can barely read the numbers through there.
I know, it's horrible.
But, and then growth range, what
Mhm.
was this guy spewing? So you could go as high as
$34.19.
$10?
34.19.
Oh, that's the top of your range?
No, that's 34.19.
That's what I said, that's the top of your range.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's when, unless they adjust the ranges.
And the bottom of the range is 2137.
Right, so the top of the
Okay,
market
all right, so
equity
all right.
range is 30.45,
Yep.
and the bottom of the growth range is 30.45, and the top of the growth range is 34.19. The benchmark is 26.21.
Yes.
and the
2621 is midline benchmark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the low end was 24, looks like 04.
And then, for comparison purposes, George would be at the next level.
Well, George isn't even on this chart, is he?
He's not on the chart, but he fits into grade level 4. Same as the highway
Highway
superintendent.
superintendent.
And what's your hourly?
Based on which one? FY '23 budget or FY?
No, I'm just, oh, yeah, well, actually, it's, look at the budget, yeah.
I'm at 43, so
Let's look at the budget. Superintendent. 62.
43.26.
Sounds right.
That's right.
Sounds
How
about
much?
right.
43.27.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, so you're, by this, then you're up in the growth range. Right in the middle of the growth range.
I'm in a class all by myself.
Okay. So, what is the pleasure of the board as far as, are we, so we're able to recommend increases?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just to make it a little easier, and then you guys can, everyone can do what they want. I did not like filling out that particular form because a lot of it was repetitive, and I didn't fill some of it out because it's there's too much shady area there. Her performance was outstanding, okay, it was great. She met all the good marks, she did all the right things, she's progressive. She's also been trying to improve herself, like getting her licenses and things. That's a major thing to do, especially when you're working every day, doing all that stuff and all the other jobs she does. So she's always progressive, including with the meter reading. trying to look at new updated software, and anytime asked to do something is, you know, just a quick phone call and it gets done. So I would rather you just look at the initial parts of that review as to what it reflects for us. And then maybe down the line, the board can change and adapt something that suits.
For the next performance
Yeah,
cycle, I
for the
think we
month,
need to
you know.
have, I mean, we couldn't really change much of anything without changing this first, the job description. But, and that's what you would have to be
Budget
rated
you're
on.
proposing for the new one,
Little, yeah,
did you
yeah,
put in?
yes.
Okay.
I don't know that you did it correctly, but, yours is gonna be different because they changed that mid-cycle as well, right? That, market
Yep.
equity range that they put you at wasn't in last year's budget correctly.
No, that was correct.
Because
So it's off.
based on these numbers, it's like 9.479%.
Yeah, it's, and it's, I believe it's off.
Yeah, they pushed everybody up to that benchmark, that
The middle benchmark
That-
number?
that-
The
No.
2404.
2404.
Oh, the low, yeah.
They pushed everybody to the top of the hiring range,
Well, you're,
or the bottom of the market equity range.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's the same number in the really
Yeah.
well shaded areas. It's 2404.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
just one thing that, going through this, there's no mention at all about any adjustments that were made for the COVID, when they did the reorganization here within the town hall. And any
Oh, that's
performance
right.
performance for this past year's
Catch.
timeframe should have mentioned that, and that Jen served above and beyond. And at the same time, when we're talking about that, have we ever got an adjustment on that indirect cost because of the additional things she took on from the town, from the town?
I think George came up to an agreement with the administrator as to all that.
Yes, something that was for Jen herself that she'd be happy with and.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
right. That
they
was,
gave some extra
That was all
costs.
addressed.
she was,
Yes.
that was,
He
that's
took
right.
care of
Yep.
But that was to pay for the
How
overtime.
many hours you work?
40.
That was to pay for the overtime.
Yeah, so based on that 2404, you're even low
Right, because
there.
I don't think it
You're
was.
short by $2,000.
I don't think it was, the increase was taken into account when they figured, when this was figured.
Right,
When
so
we-
I think both of yours are incorrect on the budget, so you're gonna have to raise your budget line items based on whatever decision you come up with here.
So for purposes of discussion, does anybody have any recommendations? Do we know what the other departments are doing, they're doing? I mean, it actually shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I don't even think.
Never mind, it doesn't matter.
I mean,
What's our
It shouldn't
maximum
matter.
authority?
It shouldn't, huh?
What's our maximum authority?
The range.
What's the
Right.
rate?
It could go up to 34.19.
2137 to 3419 an hour. That's on that's this chart here.
Yeah, okay.
So if you went based on the, if you
I
went
mean, we
based on
could pick
the,
anywhere in between the range? I thought there has to be a percentage of the increase.
no, not based on our authority, as long as we have it budgeted, we can
It,
work
it, it
within that,
has to be budgeted and it has to be within
the operating range of the.
within the range set forth by the town for a particular position.
How long have you been in the position? Ken?
I've been employed for the town for
Three.
eight
Yeah.
years in this.
3 years.
3 years in this position.
So you're, on this, your hourly is the high number or the low number?
She's at the lowest
24.
market equity range.
2404.
That's entry level.
Right.
So that means
Yes.
somebody hired tomorrow is gonna come in at the same.
same thing,
salary.
That is very correct.
And, and,
Which means to me,
you know, kind of like George brought up is that, you know, she's a licensed operator as well.
yeah,
So,
when you get to, look at ranges, how long should it take you to go from entry level to the top of a range? So I can tell you how many years it takes you to get to the middle. And I think you're gonna find that number's gonna be somewhere probably around 6.
I was gonna say, typically the way they structure
No,
salaries is a 10-year step
So maybe 5 or 6.
rates, so,
no, on this budget, right, I'm just trying to get my head around it. You're at 24,
Oh, 4.
no, I meant
Oh,
proposed budget for each department, for your
right,
salary.
so she's half. She's got 50% water, 50% sewer.
Right, but it's,
So
I'm
the
looking
total-
here,
Right,
it's 24,
right, so she's budgeted at 48,127.60.
right, but that's not even the 24,
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, that's what I just said, she's,
Right, it
she's
was-
$2,000 shy,
yeah.
because there's
There was a bump.
the right number.
Yeah. So that number was based on the budget, but it wasn't based on, the budget was created before that,
Yep, yep.
that bump was given. That bump was given in what?
it was
October?
October, November, but it was retroactive
Yeah, it was retroactive, but it was given in October. Yeah,
after the town meeting.
yes. So if we're looking at,
If it was retroactive, you have enough money to cover it now?
well, yeah, we had the, yeah,
Yes, they did.
we fixed, the budget was fixed. So are we looking at that 10-step range as being for the market equity range, or is that for the ti-
No, that would be the whole range
Yeah,
on a 10-year.
10 years.
Market equity just says that this is the low point for the position, and here's the high point that we've seen for the positions.
Okay,
And that's based on, I mean, half of those positions could be, they've only been there for a year or 2 years.
yeah,
But some of them could be coming in at that high range, but that's what they found for the salaries that they surveyed. We don't know if those people have been there for a year or 40 years.
Yeah, we don't have
You
the
know,
data behind it.
You don't have that data to give you that, but the growth range is what you have to work with, so if you were basing it on a 10-step, it would be the 2404 to the 3419, which is roughly $1 a year.
All year, basically.
So we get it to 27.
so, uh, at one point, $1.30 a year, approximately. Now, what are all the X's? Oh, the X's are,
What other people make already.
Those are kind of those positions, that's the rate that they're currently at.
Right, like the top line of my level.
Right.
That's what, well, now she's even more than that,
Right.
because she was bumped, but that's what she was at.
That's what she was at when they did this survey.
Right,
that's where she was?
yes.
Oh. So what's the pleasure?
we could bump her up anywhere up to 34
3419,
from, you know, 24.
2404.
Try explaining that. Yeah, we can't explain that.
Well, I just did it quick, it's, if we, because she had said 27, it'd be 28,080 from each department.
Right, so if you took this range and based it on being here 3 years in a 10-step scale, that's why you came up with the $3, but it'd be $3.05. That would put it at 27.
You're talking about, how do you,
Because it's
oh, you're talking about,
$10.15 between the full scale of the range. So $10.15 divided by 10 years would be $1.5 cents.
okay, $1.15.
Times 3, no, $1. It's 1.015,
$1.02.
Dollar and
Okay.
two.
roughly.
Okay.
So if you did the 1.015 times 3, that'd give you,
Times, why are you multiplying it times three?
because she's been in the
3
position
years
for
in
3
a year.
years.
But she's received increases
Yeah, but,
between them.
right, but if you were paying her $3 an hour when she started, and then everybody came back and said, oh, the market,
You've just
fair
reset
market,
her
right,
salary down
we
to the
reset it back to the
entry level
beginning.
again.
You put her at entry level right now,
So
Okay,
now we're
all
gonna
right.
and
Just
she's
for
been
the
here
3
3
years.
years, and she's
Okay.
excelled, and she's gone above and beyond and getting
Yeah.
licensed and to understand the whole department as a whole, which
Okay.
you don't see too often, so. So just based on that, like
We
I
haven't had a
said,
good track record keeping secretaries, so.
Yeah, we wanna,
the 3
Some haven't wanted
steps, and,
to. Well,
yeah, and I can tell you from
Is that allowed?
experience, if you have someone that works and you wanna retain them, you
You
gotta
gotta
show
pay.
you appreciate them, so.
Okay, so does someone want to
we bumped it
talk about
2700.
1.02?
that's right.
As we say, 27, 28 range, the math tells you 2709. 3 years in this position.
28, 173, 60 per department.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, correct.
Okay. Okay, does someone want to put that in the form of
Make a motion that we make the,
Administrative assistant. Administrative
yeah,
assistant.
administrative assistant for sewer and water at 2709 an hour.
I'll second that. I just don't know the effective dates or how you have to handle this, who receives it.
So that goes in as,
It'll
well,
go-
actually, so it's
Retro
retroactive.
Back to November?
No, yours is November, yours is like July 1st.
July 1st.
It was right around there, July
Yep.
6th.
Oh, was it
Yeah.
just- It's this July 1st or retro back?
Right to the back.
It can be this July 1st, it's fine. Because I was retroed for the 2404
Right.
back to the
Yeah.
July.
So, you know, when I was going through the numbers, I'm trying to figure out for FY '23's
Make
budget,
it
so.
Okay, so
Effective 1 July.
make it effective
Yep.
July 1, line 1. Okay. So motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Jenny, are you satisfied with that?
Oh, absolutely, thank you.
Aren't gonna lose your work there.
No, not yet.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Mr. Superintendent, are you satisfied?
Okay,
With her?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
with
and
the
on the
payroll.
highway?
Yes, I am.
It's, it is money,
well worth
but
Yeah, I
in
do.
the scheme of things, it's not a big jump for this.
Right, when you, the cost to benefit?
Yeah.
That's-
Right.
And then, okay,
So George's is a little more difficult because his was November,
right,
so his will be retroactive back to November for what we discussed, and then we would need to, so that would be proportioned. So we would back to November, and it would carry out for the remaining of this year, and then it would be from July 1st to November of next year would be at the rate that we set. And then we would have to reevaluate him next November, just so you understand
yep, yeah.
where the numbers are going there.
Oh, yeah, and he's also in a very different place on the scale as well.
He is, but based on the budget number, you only got him at a 1.4% increase over the 22 budget. Is that what you think?
No, I didn't.
I was
I
gonna
thought
say,
it was
I know you were
5%.
running through numbers, but,
I thought it was 5%.
no, that's what he had said,
Right.
and that's how they came up with that 6,000 number, but that number's off as well, so.
90, oh, that's budgeted.
So based on the budgeted, they have it budgeted at 91,254.28.
91,254. Okay.
But that's based on the FY '22 being at 89,994.60, right? And that, like I said, that equates to a 1.4% increase. So that doesn't even
No.
calculate for the cost of living based on
Okay, the top of his range is 45.72 per hour. 45.72, you have to multiply it out.
right, but
For an
his, so he's
annualized.
at 43.27.
43.27,
Currently.
yeah, right. So, I mean, you can't go up much more than that. So otherwise you max them out.
Well, yeah, if you go up to the 45.72, that puts you 95.097. So that's what you have to work with. And how does this chart is based on FY '21 or '22?
21.
So how do they adjust this chart annually? 'Cause I know typically they try to factor 2.25% for steps, and then it depends on the COLA as to what the whole chart moves up.
They wiped out COLA, wasn't it? They said that will be stricken from the,
Okay, so they're no
Lexicon.
longer, so they're not doing COLAs anymore, but in 10
It's
years,
all-
in 10 years from now, these numbers are gonna be terrible because.
oh, yeah, no
because
kidding, yeah.
This chart doesn't stay with the inflation.
I haven't
And
heard
doesn't-
anything.
They usually
about
don't do
that.
any increase, they do about a 5-year adjustment.
Yeah, it's what, it's,
Well, the charts usually get updated based on,
they're,
But you
usually
can-
there's
we have to
a-
find out what they're.
The way to update the chart properly is to do another survey.
Right, but they're not gonna do that every year, I can guarantee.
No, they
that.
won't.
They won't do another one
No.
for 10 years.
So that's why I said,
Right.
they don't move those things.
They-
until about
I,
5.
But is this chart staying set at these numbers, or are they gonna adjust for inflation or anything, this chart? It doesn't change where they fall on the chart, but are they adjusting the chart? Or when is the schedule for adjusting the chart?
I will ask. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. So-
That's what they haven't decided anything.
yeah, they may not have made any decisions there.
The problem is, as soon as they adjust the top, they just nullify your rate.
I think we need to do something, Mr. Chairman, because if we don't, he's gonna fall behind again. Is that almost,
And what do you have a longevity coming in at some point here too?
They used that the last time just to bring me up to where I somewhat should have been.
So is the longevity a one time, or is it every year?
Every
year.
once a year. And I already, I fell between the cracks last year.
he's almost 44 now. I think we can at least get him to 45. We can go up to 45,
Well,
78, right?
Well, then we max, yeah, if we do that, we max them out.
Right, but I think if we want, at least bump them to 45.
That's about a 5% increase. $2.
Do some kind of like a split the
what's it at
difference.
936?
Yeah.
That's about that's about a 5% increase.
Why don't you think a split, I'm looking at 44 range and 44.50 or something like that.
Well, I mean, if we max them out,
That's a
that's
4%.
fine. Huh?
It's a 4%.
4%, and that's right,
43.27.
that's fair.
That's-
But I mean, that's as far as we can go, we can't go any further.
Now, you could, you get another 72 cents to play with it.
Oh, wow,
I'm just saying.
yeah. The top of the range is 45.72.
Right, he said 45. 45 even gets you a 4% exactly.
Yeah, and the 72 cents is another 0.5%, 0.75%.
That, make that as a motion,
What's that?
monthly salary of 45 an hour.
And that would be commencing when? Is that retro? That would be retro.
November, you said, right?
You base this on an annual or an
Annual.
So,
Says he's,
so that would equate to 936.
In that motion, Mr. Chairman, I'll make it as a motion to raise his salary 93,600
Per year?
per year.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
There goes the budget.
Okay, opposed.
There goes the budget.
It's not that,
No, now, this
Mr.
current
Chairman.
budget, the
Mr.
change in
Chairman.
this current
Chair-
budget, do we have that?
Mr. Chairman,
What?
just for that comment for the record, it's not a lot of money.
It is
in the
not.
scheme of things.
It's not a lot.
I'm,
A 5% pay increase
well, I'm
is
just
not.
saying for the public, that's, you said it's, there goes the budget.
Yeah, I'm just making a joke.
I know. But we're not the only ones here.
We're, the bills we've signed, yeah, I know, that's not gonna break the budget.
It's $4,000 on a $3 million budget.
Right. Yeah. All right, and that will, now that's gonna cause, the need to adjust the current budget.
Yes.
And that is going to be, we can move money between line items, but not between salaries.
No, you
Correct?
can- Yeah, you don't need to move anything, you just need to increase that line.
Yeah.
Increase,
We have the maintenance budget.
You didn't-
Oh.
We have the maintenance account, but
Okay.
we don't
One
use
in
that
the
anymore.
bottom.
We could take some from there, I think.
okay, can we,
Minute,
Yeah,
the
so-
administrative
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 assistant.
assistant, proposed budget should be 28,173,60.
yeah, that's for the new budget.
That's for the FY '23.
I'm talking about what we're working on
Right,
right
so-
now.
So we need,
For George,
Okay.
for George.
so, I don't know if we wanna sit and try to figure it out right now, but that's a lot of math, because you gotta figure out what he made from July 1st.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
to
oh,
November.
okay, so what, but I
And
mean,
then the new rate would be reflected in the November.
I'm just like,
to-
I'm just, with everything going on, it's just, what's the process for increasing that line item in the budget?
So do you have enough money in?
We can take it,
So you can take out of all the salaries, so the
Yes.
overtime?
yes, we have.
Okay,
Oh,
so-
we could- yeah,
Yes.
you could take it out of overtime. Salaries have to come from salaries.
Yes.
Right, but you did point out that overtime was shot in one of your budget items, so.
It's not shot, it's
But we also have,
it's
I
up a
know you're
little
at
bit.
67 or 60,
there's the
62% out of.
maintenance position.
We have the mains position, it's not.
Okay, so you got a position that isn't filled, so you have
Right.
one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're
There you
fine.
go.
We did
Okay.
that for a
You're
reason.
fine there for that budget, but you need to raise 23 to reflect both of
Yep.
those.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, all right.
But I would
Thank you.
also recommend that you,
The safety.
yeah, you need,
We
well,
did. Well, we already just, yeah, we already know what we're
safety
doing
we
there.
know to add, but you keep trying to do your budget based on his salary, but halfway through the year, we need to change
Change
his
it.
salary, so you need to reflect that, so that we're not looking at
We'd
this.
probably take a little bit.
If we had all the positions filled, we wouldn't have enough, and you'd be going
Right.
to special town meeting trying to adjust the salary line.
Okay.
So you wanna figure
That's
the,
why we kept that position filled and open for
Yeah,
us to
6,
move money
7
if we had
months.
to.
so you need to factor 7 months at a potentially different rate, and at this point, you can only factor the 45.72,
For a
so,
buck, yeah.
Okay.
at the most, based on the current standing of this.
So I guess the question rises for the corner office is, what is the process moving forward for adjustment of those pay scales? Or is there one? Okay. Public, okay, are we all set with performance?
Yeah, we just have to have this okay now, right?
And just have to finish up her performance appraisal at the end,
Yep.
and then, once you two sign it, then it gets signed, it gets endorsed by us, and then it's just an endorsement at that point. Okay. We talked about that. I don't think there was anything else in the
Jim, did you
packet.
reach out to Tom?
I did not yet, I just got it yesterday in the mail, so I wanted to have you guys, and I'll reach out to him if you want. I
Please.
did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you did, it was a while ago, a
Yeah.
couple months ago. It was back, I think it was back in like December, beginning of
Okay.
December.
And I got
November.
nothing, but I'll reach
Yeah.
out to him tomorrow.
I'm surprised their accountant over there is actually a CPA.
Okay, public comments,
No?
board comments. Bob? Any,
I got a question for George.
Tom?
The last meeting, we had a question about somebody not letting us in.
All set.
All set?
All set. They're in. Right that day, the next day. With instructions that, we're told what the procedures are that we do for that type of thing, so they understand. So, and then they think, I believe they passed too. I think it was all set.
There's nothing, found nothing wrong there?
Jay?
I'm all set.
Bill?
Good.
I don't have anything, just keep up the good work.
Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
We're out.